So Julio said, I trust you as someone going beyond self, and I trust you. And he kept repeating, I trust you. And I think that's really beautiful. And I think that needs to happen while the deconstructing is happening, that the trust goes outside of yourself, because yourself is deceptive. The separate self can be deceptive. But notice with trusting comes disbelieving. So you trust and you disbelieve as well. And notice, like, trusting is an idea, just like not believing is an idea. So not trusting is an idea. And it's something that we're taught, and it's really super practical. And I think that it's also an innate feeling as well, like whether to trust something or whether to not. And when it's that innate feeling, it doesn't come with the opposite. It's just very momentarily thing. So when I'm speaking, there's a deep sense that what I'm saying has truth. But it doesn't come with any ideas, it's just in the moment. And then the trust that goes into time, that can be practical. You know, you can practically, we need to work things out, whether to trust things or not. But when it goes in time, it's always got the possibility to change, that you trust someone and don't trust someone, and you trust someone, you don't trust someone. And this has lots of complications to it, because if you're an overly trusting person, then that's got problems. If you're an under-trusting person, then that's got problems. Really, the best thing to do is just go back to the moment. It's not having trust in someone. It's not having trust in something. It's in that moment, whether it resonates. But that's complicated, because sometimes when something's being poked at, so if I poke at something, then on the surface there can come anger and frustration. But normally if there's anger and frustration and resistance, then there's something in that that's being true. That is true. Like with Roger, my attitude towards Roger was not that I trusted that he was some enlightened being or something great or huge. Roger was one of my teachers. My attitude towards it was that just taking it moment by moment, and I could clearly see that he was doing a much better job at life than myself. From spending time with him, I could see that he was much more at balance and in flow with life. And I think that's the way Roger would encourage it, because I think that is a more balanced way to look at it, rather than to have this big idea about something. Because if you have a big idea about something, you're more than likely going to be let down as well. So it's more like coming back to what's actually happening. And I do think that, just on the side, that I am really, really wise and really sensitive and really accurate. And it's not me that's wise, it's just so much changed here from being that separate entity to not. I'm not saying that there can't still be old patterns that come up, old thinking patterns, but it's not so big, and they're just more like wisps of energy. But yeah, and you can judge that, and I think you can see that, and you can sense that. I think you can sense that there is a general love when I speak, but I can't promote that, and I wouldn't say believe it. I would say just look at the whole of life as your teacher, that everything's teaching you what's not true. And if something hurts, then it means that more than likely you've got a resistance to it, and there's a lie that's being held when it really hurts and it lingers. And if you feel this resonance when I speak about non-duality, or someone speaks about non-duality and like love, then it's more than likely they're speaking from that empty place. But don't trust a person or a thing as such. It's life. Like you trust life, all of it. That all of this is guiding you home. And it's not that eventually that trust will disappear and then there will just be a flow with life and you'll no longer need to trust life. You'll just be in sync with life. You'll see that you are life and that you never left home. But the way that I used to look at it was everything was guiding me home. Everything was a way to show me what wasn't true. And when you saw what wasn't true, all that was moving, then what was left was what was true. You know, if you trust in a guru or you trust in a teacher, they're more than likely going to let you down because you'll have ideas about what they need to be. It's like humans are humans. So there's many things from being on this path that I could tell you about, all different teachers, really famous teachers, that if you heard it, you would most probably just have such a different perspective on them. If you were open enough, then your mind maybe wouldn't judge them. But if you still believed that they had to be something, then maybe you would reject them. You've got to start looking not at the person as such that's speaking. It's like life is speaking through me and you're listening, not because of me, not because of you, but because that's what life is creating now. Life is what sets you free, not a guru. But I also see that people need humility towards the speaker. So in certain ways, like, don't use that as a way to try and push yourself above the speaker or better than the speaker. Like, be humble to the speaker as well. Can you feel that? Life is what you trust. That's the designation. You know, God, the sky is so beautiful. It's pink and blues. It's beautiful. You know, we're always looking for trust in humans. It's a sick mentality. Like, we're always looking for this human that we can one day trust, that we can one day see as this God, father or mother figure. And then our hearts are constantly broken because they do different things to what we envision. It doesn't mean they're wrong, but we envision that when we're sad, they come and hug us, and then they don't. And they've let us down, and then it builds inside the body. Life is what you trust. That everything is the perfect play. Everything you've ever done, everything that's ever happened is the perfect play. As you begin to see it like that, life begins to open up again. Who you truly are begins to shine through as you stop living in the delusion. Life always wants to give. Always. Everything's always in a state of giving. It's so sad, the mentality that the human gets into. It begins to get into this mentality that life is always taking from me, and it fails to see that life is constantly giving. If it didn't remove things, it couldn't give new things, but it's all mentality. And this person gets addicted to that and gets afraid of it, and none of it's true. Just see it's not true, and who you are is this empty looking and this alive presence, which is love. As that begins to be seen as not true, the stories, then there's a movement back to that alive presence, that pure being of who you are.